Second row is nice, and the seats are super comfortable too. I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Good amount of knee space on top of that, and the headspace inside of this is pretty dang good, like 5-6+ inches of headspace. And that's obviously because this one doesn't have the panoramic sunroof. So if you want the roof, just get a time of ordering from the factory, but you can also save yourself like almost $2,000 by not going for the roof. I personally love the roof just because of how much it opens things up. I'm just a big fan of that like big open view, but that's my preference. It's going to come down to you. But one thing that is going to be standard inside of the Explorer Limited, we have our sunshades. So if you've got kids in the second row and you don't have your windows tinted, you do have these things available as an option, which is great. But all of the same types of highlights that we saw along the door follow through to the second row. Got a few speakers along the door, nice leather with that good stitching, little bottle holders all the way through it, which is kind of cool. Now, a few cool things about the second row, in the second row seat specifically, is that we may have the option for outboard heated seats. So that's the driver passenger side. This middle one's not heated at all, but it is cool. We've got that second row heated available there as an option. And the seats themselves are kind of interesting because in the Explorer, we've got the option for either 6 or 7 seats. This is obviously the 7-seater because of this bench configuration with this middle seat here. So if you go for the dual captain's chairs, you've got a little armrest and then it's just an easy pass through to that third row. Not impossible, I'll show you that in a second, but regardless of whether you go for the 6 or 7 seat configuration, we do have, so there's a lever along our side. We could use that if we want to fold the seat down, but we can also use it if we want to slightly recline it too. Kind of half riding in style. It's not like a huge recline, but I mean, it's not bad for what it is. I'll take it. So that's good. We also do have seats, so our outboard seats are also slidable. So we've got a little bar between our legs and we can move the seat forwards and backwards if we need to create room for people that are in that third row. Just be cognizant of what's going on in the first row though, but the bench seat inside of this is locked in place. So we can fold this thing down, but it's not gonna be able to slide forwards or backwards whatsoever. A few other things to point out. So just behind the armrest, we do have our fan control, as well as control for our climate. We can easily adjust if it's going to our face or feet. A few different power points. So we've got 2 USB-C, and then there's also a regular wall outlet that's 150 watt. Moving down from there, there also are a few small cup holders, kind of this drop-down tray. Now, other thing to point out, behind the first row seats, driver passenger side, we also do have some pockets there. So we need to store some things. It's available. Mat pockets, kind of nice. Up overhead on both sides, we do have some clothing hooks. There's a light, both sides, and then we also do have our vent control on top of that. So we can kind of control whether or not it's going to our face. We could turn it off down there as well, so it's a matter of preference there. But the second row seats, like I said, even this middle seat, I don't think it's... The middle seat's actually not bad. Comfortability is not too shabby inside of this middle seat. I wouldn't mind sitting here. I mean, with those heated outboard seats though in the wintertime, I'm absolutely fighting somebody to get inside of these outboard seats, but this is comfortable though. I like it. Now, getting inside of the third row seat, it's not that challenging when we have the bench. Like I said, with the dual captain's chairs, we could just kind of like shimmy backwards a little bit, but because we've got because we've got the bench seat, we have to do it from the outside. So all we're gonna do from the outside here, we've got a little latch along the very top. We're just gonna pull that, and in we go. Not too challenging. Getting into the third row of the Explorer. Now, having said that, that is with the bench seat configuration. So if you had the one with the dual captain's chairs, you'd just be able to easily shimmy between that second row rather than using the slide. But I mean, you saw there, super straightforward in order to be able to do it. So whether you go for the slide route or pass through is going to depend on you. I mean, obviously, if you need 7 seats, you're going to need to get the bench seat. But really, like if you only need 3-4 seats, having the dual captain's chairs in the second row is useful for a few reasons. Now, as I mentioned, I'm 6 feet tall. So I'm going to pull this seat up for a second to show you something. So with this middle seat up, I've got like next to no knee space here. Like, hold on, let me shuffle over for you for a second. So it is very, very tight back here. As Mike Myers would say, it's tight like a toiger. It's tight. Now, having said that, is it so tight I couldn't sit back here? Like, no, my knee is just pushing up against this middle seat. So if you want more space in the third row, like the bench seat would be ideal, but I mean, realistically, you could just throw your leg up and over if you wanted. Not the safest, but you could do it if you needed more leg room. But I mean, headspace in the third row is actually not bad. So I've got, what's that, like maybe an inch-ish of headspace in the third row. Now, having said that, the third row seats aren't the most comfortable seats. They're there, but it would be nice if there was like a teeny little bit more butt cushion for this third row. But one other thing, we've got all of our anchors and tethers back here too. So if you've got front-facing or rear-facing child seats, you could technically just stick them in the third row and then have the grown-up kids or whatever the case may be sitting in that middle row instead. Not bad, nice and simple. But some things to point out back here, we've got some bottle holders along the side, so bottle/cup holders. Up overhead, we've got some vent controls on both sides, and we also do have a little light control back there too. Super simple, very straightforward in the third row. Not too much to write home about, it's pretty basic.